And we're back with our final match of week number 3. We've got Hunter x Hunter is mid as fuck, aka Random Wizard, versus the Vaporeon Fan Club, aka Super Sentai, aka Reckless One. And I am sending them the all clear to get going. All clear and all clear. So starting here, I think we have a different look from Reckless. I already see Sharpedo on the other side of the board. He also has Fortress, which could be his lead. That is a rocker. We saw him do some Custap Berry shenanigans last week with Explosion on the Fortress, but that Pokemon's more of a conventional rocker, so I think that'll be one of the potential leads there. And for Hunter x Hunter, I think that the Mew, if built with Stealth Rocks, could be a lead, obviously. The Regirock is a typical rocker, but he could lead with the Charizard to get the Mega Evolution secured, and that way he won't take 50% HP to a Stealth Rock from Reckless One.
Yeah, looking at these teams, immediately I'm curious if the Tentacruel is going to do the same thing that we saw Reckless One do against Dirtman's Venusaur in preparation for the Meganium if it's an anti-drainer.
So it does have Liquid Ooze, and it is carrying the Black Sludge, so it is in that form. And it does have knockoff, so we could see knocking off on the big root to make that even more of a lock off or to knock out that Meganium's power. So we do see the Mew lead and Reckless leading with the Altaria, which is a very interesting start. We could end up seeing him try to, go for something like a setup, but this Mew does have Ice Beam, so if Reckless doesn't see that possibility quickly, this Mew could literally just kill this Altaria before anything happens.
Yeah, talking with Random Wizard before this match, he was talking about his Mew and how it is set up to counter most of Reckless One's potential leads that he's done traditionally. Packing the Flamethrower for the Fortress, Psychic for the Gengar, and the Altaria. Yeah, the Ice Beam covers that.
Yeah, pretty nice. And for Random Wizard, he's going to have to decide what move to press. I think Reckless has scoped this out and has realized that Altaria is not safe to leave in here. Someone is in the tank, and if I had to guess, it would be Reckless. If I'm Random Wizard, looking at these options, I think that you're pressing Psychic, and he chooses the Ice Beam, which is not going to be great against Fortress. This is the one scenario, though, where he chipped the HP down, so he will not be sturdy, and that is the kill because he was not sturdy there. And this Mew is vested, so it has higher special defense altogether.
And that's a high roll from that Gengar, or its item is different.
Wow. And that is
Because the Mew
another
was.
kill from this Mew. The Psychic going into the Poison Ghost 4 times effective there. And Sharpedo coming out here with Speed Boost, but, you know, this Mew is just doing some incredible work here to start. Stab moves, and, you know, Stab Psychic is really powerful when your Pokemon is built to be a special sweeper.
Yeah, Sharpedo being the one thing that this Mew in particular doesn't seem too prepared for. But taking out 2 Mon, I mean, it's already done the damage.
So remember, it does have Giga Drain, so it can get a super effective move here and maybe gain some HP, but I think the Sharpedo is going to be faster. So Random Wizard is going into the tank to think about what to swap to. Probably the Zapdos, but I could see you swap to Meganium or Registeel. I mean, you've got a lot of options here.
Yeah, that Mew definitely slower. Great call on that with its special defensive bulk that it was built with in order to counter the Gengar. And just like you said, Super Saiyan Pidgeot charging up out there.
And you can see that there's a speed stage 1 up on that Sharpedo. Speed Boost is a very powerful ability where Sharpedo will get a free speed up 1 stage at the end of every turn. That's why you saw Protect. However, for Reckless, he should have known that that Mew was going to swap out there, and he literally could have maybe gotten something off there, maybe a Dark Pulse or a Surf, but this is a special attacking Sharpedo, and he pulls it out for the Altaria. Let's see what he goes for. That Thunderbolt is big. The Dragon typing making it normal effectiveness, but it crit, so that was a really big move there by Zapdos.
And the question for Reckless One's team that I have right now is who is the Mega? He still has three potential Megas alive. The Altaria not Mega evolving off the rip because it swapped out immediately. The Sharpedo possibly wanting some speed boost before it Mega evolves. And yeah, I
I
gotta
think you
harp
know
back
the
to
answer
that.
to your question. The boss man Metacham is carrying the Megastone, and we all know that Pokemon can sweep an entire team. But the problem with it is looking at Random Wizard's squad, he's got a pretty nice squad to fight that. So um, we'll see what happens here. He can now freely swap to the Tentacruel, and there is the Leech Seed into the Tentacruel, and that will drain some of the HP for both Pokemon. It still does the damage to Tentacruel, but it won't heal up from the Leech Seed.
Yeah, this really coming into effect. It doesn't really matter what Random Wizard does now. The Tentacruel, all it's trying to do is survive and let that Leech Seed drain its health to drain its opponent. No matter who Random Wizards switches into, as long as that Tentacruel can stay in, that Leech Seed is going to be damaging.
And I think we could see a swap to the Clefable here. That's probably your best swap for if you're Random Wizard because this Tentacruel does have Ice Beam, and your Pokemon don't really do well against Ice Beam. So we'll see. He swaps to the Zapdos, and yeah, there is the Ice Beam into the Zapdos, super effective. But keep in mind that this and there's another hit from the seed. This Zapdos does have Roost, so if he roosts and the Tentacruel hits Ice Beam again, it will not be super effective, and Random Wizard can, outrace that Ice Beam with well-timed roosts.
Yeah, and the Clefable swap, and also considering the Magic Guard, that'd be very interesting to see how it interacts with the poisonous Leech Seed. I imagine it would still deal damage. Magic Guard protecting from the drain of Leech Seed, but not necessarily the healing effect.
And deciding to swap to the Altaria, I think this is what Reckless has been waiting for. Only 28% damage. We are going to see Reckless do a Cotton Guard here. And, you know, oh, sorry, he decides to go for the Dragon Dance for the speed boost. And this Altaria, while it only has one attacking move and it's a dragon move, so I don't think that we are going to see you know, him have like a flying move that could really threaten this Meganium here.
Great mention on that. With only a Dragon move, it has nothing it can do to kill the Clefable.
That's right. That's right. He has to save some sort of, and I mean, look, yeah, and there's the Dragon Claw barely hurting it. Toxic, but this Altaria has Natural Cure, so I think Reckless is just going to pull it out immediately right here. Um, the thing is that, yeah, he pulls it out and goes straight back to the Tentacruel. It crits there, and he still has the liquid ooze, so the the Giga Drain will not heal. Um, and yeah, and he immediately pulls that out and goes to the Zapdos, and there's the Ice Beam again, getting it, and it crits this time. But again, this Zapdos is quite quick, so we could see a roost. And if you're Tentacruel, I think you got to take the chance here to get a knockoff or swap to something like Metacham. Oh, and he outspeeds with the Tentacruel. How I don't even know how that's possible, but it must have been a speed tie because that Zapdos did not have a speed Eevee.
Yeah, this
Unbelievable.
Tentacruel really putting in work for Reckless One as he tries to drag himself back into this match.
Now, is he going to press Psychic with this Mew and allow the Sharpedo? I mean, you had the Sharpedo swap there, but he chooses to leave him in and knocks off the Assault Vest. And, to be honest, like, I think you can still just swap to the Sharpedo here, get the speed boost, because I think Random Wizard is going to press Psychic again.
Yeah, and that assault vest not being very valuable on the Mew when it's at this low amount of HP where it's gonna fall over to a special attack anyway.
Oh, I really don't like that from Reckless. You had multiple chances to swap to the Dark Pokemon in Sharpedo, and you just kind of maybe didn't see it, or I don't know, but you lost your Tentacruel there, and now the Meganium has free reign.
Yeah, potentially afraid of letting this Mew get a Giga Drain off and being able to heal its way back into the match. But that's where the benefit of getting that knockoff really paid off, where it can gain some health again. It doesn't have its Assault Vest. It'd be sub 30%.
Now we're gonna see a fake out here after the Mega Evolution, um, and this Mew has Giga Drain, but I think Random Wizard is going to just leave it out there. You don't want to switch too much into a Metacham. The
Yeah,
powerful pure power ability is really scary.
yeah,
Yep.
you really want the clean swap here.
And it uses off up the fake out. So there's Mr. Steelio Girl, and he has in previous versions of using Registeel. Yeah, this Registeel is wearing the Rocky helmet and has clear body, so you're not going to see sturdy here. If a high jump kick is well placed, it might one shot. I just don't know. I mean, this thing is a massive tank, so we'll really see, a really premium wall breaker in Metacham versus a big wall like Registeel.
Yeah, Registeel being the clean swap for the fake out if he wanted to save the Mew. But my question then was just, what does he do to keep his momentum? I guess we're going to see that now going with the Thunderwave.
Yeah, and Thunderwave is pretty good against Sharpedo because Sharpedo, depending on the speed boost to outspeed the opponent's team. I mean, granted, Random Wizard's team is pretty slow left, so. And there is a paralysis into the Stealth Rocks, and the Stealth Rocks will be very challenging with that Altaria. There's a toss, and this Sharpedo's in big trouble here. Um, this
Yeah, Mr. Steal Your Girl taking that special attack much better than I would typically expect.
and we're gonna see a roost here from Altaria, but Mr. Steelio Girl can just hit him with a Thunder Wave, and he chooses Seismic Toss. The Altaria, as you can see, is wearing the helmet. It's way faster, so I think you're gonna see the Thunder Wave here from Random Wizard. He chooses to rest and heal up, which is interesting. This Altaria is now going to have a chance to actually start setting up while this thing is asleep. And there's the Clefable. So this Altaria is going to have to swap immediately. It has nothing it can do against Clefable. You're going to see it swap, and the problem is a Moonblast into Metacham or Sharpedo is very good. So there's no poison or steel move, as far as I know, on the side of Reckless one. So how do you kill this Clefable?
Yeah, I'm not too sure on that. Honestly, the best decision may be to let the Altaria die and try and give something that can actually damage it a clean swap in. But at this point, I mean, you're looking at three Pokemon who have been rather beat up and rather used against, two that are completely fresh with this Clefable and Charizard not even seeing the field yet.
If it were me, I think that right now you swap to the Sharpedo and let it die. I don't think you let the Altaria die. I think you swap to the Sharp. And he swaps to the Metacham. This is huge because if it's Moonblast, it is Ice Beam. That is crazy. It was not Moonblast. Chose to go with the Ice Beam instead, as that's 4 times effective against Altaria versus 2 times on the Moonblast. But Moonblast probably would have one-shot the Metacham there because it's fighting.
Yeah, as well as it being able to just hit that move and it hits all three of the remaining Pokemon super effectively.
So Random Wizard could swap there. He didn't put Fake Out. He didn't use Fake Out. He had the Fake Out on the swap and didn't use it. Chose to use the Zen Headbutt. Pretty big misplay there by Reckless One. And that is probably going to do it. That right there. A fake out there would have forced Random Wizard to swap, or, yeah, and this is going to spell the end here, it would have forced a swap or at least given him the ability to, gain a little bit of momentum there because he could have killed on the second hit once the chip damage from the fake out went out.
And this Sharpedo with another paralysis. Considering that paralysis, I gotta say, your previous decision of sacking that, yeah, it was broken.
Yeah, it was basically dead already. Like it was definitely your best scenario, and it's even interesting that Reckless was able to get that. So there goes the Sharpedo. And here's your Altaria. There's really nothing you can do. All you had was Dragon Claw. He decided to bring two setup moves in Cotton Guard and Dragon Dance. Very interesting choice there against Random Wizard's team. So that is going to be game one. A few key
Wow.
turns where Reckless One, could have, maybe postured himself a little bit better, but it's in the heat of the moment. Sometimes, you just don't make the right play, and that came back to bite him there.
Yeah, just having to deal with that Mew off the rip, he did not handle that well. It was set up specifically to bait out that Gengar and kill it. Just Random Wizard showing that he had done his homework and he has the prep and he has the strategy and he executed. We're going to see how each of them adjust to this. The Sharpedo lead, pretty big adjustment.
Yeah, great call. And we know the Mew does have Giga Drain here, so um, on this even field, it's a little bit riskier. We could see a Dark Pulse right off the bat out of the Sharpedo to see if he can get a flinch or start off strong. But this Mew is wearing Assault Vest, so and he decides to swap over to the Zapdos immediately. And there and he does it again. He he's done this twice now where he's trying to get that speed boost in situations where he already has the speed win. It really tough breaks there for Reckless.
Yeah, Mew a little bit scary to trust your speed there, but at the same time, just go for your attacking move. And the bigger part of that is it gives you your protect to scout on this next turn as well as increase your speed even further.
Yeah, I don't think that this is going as Reckless planned. This is a given Random Wizard the momentum here because he wasn't winning the speed tie anyways. We saw Tentacruel outspeed the Zapdos, so Random Wizard knew what he was swapping into. This Sharpedo is getting swapped out here because clearly he's in the tank. I think he's already behind here. And the Zapdos we've seen before has carried Heat Wave, so I don't think you necessarily want to swap into, something like Fortress. He might go for that anyways, but probably Tentacruel into the Heat Wave, maybe a double swap. This is a tough situation. His Altaria was kind of a nice stopper for Zapdos. If I remember right, the Thunderbolt did about 28% non-crit to the Altaria's HP, but I think Random Wizard is on top of the fact that Altaria has nothing to fight this Clefable.
Yeah, I gotta say, Reckless One really showing that off using his dragon move straight into the Clefable in the last match, going into the Gengar.
Really strange swap there for Reckless One. I don't know what the goal there was swapping into the Gengar. Um, he's just going to lose the Gengar here. Reckless One is, I don't know what's going on here. He is not executing on his team's strategy. Here's the Metacham finally doing something that makes a little bit of sense. He brings out the Metacham and hopefully he fake out. He does fake out there. It does 16% damage and flinches the Zapdos. This Metacham should be able to finish off the Zapdos at 33% HP with a Stab Zen Headbutt. And Random Wizard deciding to swap, and that will slow the Meganium. We'll see an immediate swap into the Tentacruel. I mean, there's no reason not to. I mean, you see that Meganium, you throw out Tentacruel here.
Yeah, very interesting setup, countering a grass Pokemon with a water Pokemon. Tentacruel really showing his versatility.
Yeah, he is such a great Pokemon and was great in the last single draft tournament and this league. He's also been pretty strong. Um, just a great Pokemon with knockoff, rapid spin, and of course the ability to wall off these absorbers.
Random Wizard going for the double switch, expecting the Tentacruel to come out.
And that is crazy. Reckless pressing high jump kick, which is an extremely high power move, into the Zapdos, finishing it off. You know, I would have predicted he might have swapped there, or just let them do some sort of swap to the Tentacruel, but he decided to leave him in.
Yeah, a risky play, but one that definitely paid off here. Random Wizard not wanting to dedicate his any of his Meganium's attacking moves with the threat of the Tentacruel out there.
And here's the Clefable, and we saw this last time where a Moonblast is very strong against this Medicham. Two Zen headbutts could probably kill. Here's the fortress with the Moonblast into the fortress. This Clefable, does have soft boiled. It does not have a great way to pressure out the fortress. So here comes the Charizard right before the Stealth Rock. He was on top of the fact that Fortress was going to toss rocks. So this is now the chance for him to Mega Evolve this Charizard and maybe, get off something like a Dragon Dance while Fortress swaps out. This is a pivotal moment here.
We've seen what Reckless likes to do now. Oh, I was almost expecting an explosion out of that fortress.
And and there is the swap and a stab flare blitz one shots that Sharpedo. It does not matter. This Charizard is massive.
I'm bringing the Medicham back out here. Probably going to go for some fake out chip.
Yeah, but what do you do after the fake out? Because Mega Medicham isn't especially fast. I'm really wondering who's going to win this speed tie because when I look at the EV investment, they both are fully speed invested. So I'm really curious because Random Wizard had an opportunity to press Dragon Dance and get a speed up on that first turn. Instead, he decided to press Flare Blitz, which I don't think was necessarily wrong, but it is an interesting point to decide of you could have won this speed tie for sure with a single dance.
Yeah, I think the big mistake here, Reckless losing that torpedo. He needed to wait for a clean swap to bring it in order to be able to outspeed and threaten this Zard. And without that and losing the Gengar, what on his team can match this thing's speed? I feel like the Medicham coming in for the fake outs, it's just going to switch into the Tentacruel, take the Blitz, switch back into the Medicham to give another fake out once it kills the Tentacruel. It's a sad way that I feel like he's kind of pigeonholed into using to defeat this Charizard.
Unless you just press Zen Headbutt right here and say, I am placing the speed tie right here. And, you know, I'm not totally sure if that would work out well for him. But one thing's for sure is that this Charizard does have Roost. So with Roost on the battlefield, it could just heal up here. And it does just decide to Roost, and he swaps to the Altaria. Now, this is what he wanted, but there is the outrage. Altaria slower than the Charizard. So what I was going to say a second ago is that yeah, he's in big trouble now. I think he realizes that he should have just left the the Metacham out to begin with.
But an interesting interaction there with the fake out causing the flinch, stopping the outrage, but still maintaining the confusion. Notably, when you protect into an outrage, it counters the outrage and removes the confusion, allowing the outraging Pokemon to have a free swap and to move. Will the confusion be the difference maker?
Yeah, that is a very interesting interaction that I don't remember happening. But there is a Zen headbutt into the steel Pokemon with a Rocky Helm. We could see a high jump kick here, and he decides to swap to the Tentacruel. There's the Thunder Wave onto the Tentacruel, which is pretty good. I mean, the stealth, and there's a stealth rock. The paralysis stopping the turn there. Seismic toss getting a little bit of damage, and the rapid spin taking care of it, but that touches the Registeel, so that's gonna deal damage with the Rocky helmet.
Yeah, if I'm Random Wizard, I'm just throwing more rocks out. I want my rocks.
And wow, this is really wild. 3 paralysis hacks in a row on this paralyze on the Tentacruel, and you just really don't have much. I don't think Reckless realizes that Registeel is really just a wall all around, so he probably should have again just left the Medicham out there and pressed high jump kick.
Paralysis, paralysi. Who's to say?
And here's the fortress. I think this is over. I don't think Medicham is going to be able to carry uh, Reckless One here. I think Random Wizard is going to wrap this up quite quickly. The fortress itself is not a Pokemon that has much ability to stick around and recover its HP when it loses it. Now, this is a different build than we saw previously, but it's not going to be able to heal. So, and he presses Toxic into the Steel Pokemon. That is just icing on the cake here for Reckless One. I don't think he has had a good showing here. Random Wizard has really taken him to town on every single aspect of this game. Really good showing from Random Wizard. And finally, the
Yeah,
Medicham comes out. You know, we may see a fake out here, but in the scenario, it has a Rocky helmet and it's going to hit it with every single thing. Probably should have just pressed high jump kick there. It's really your only chance. And there's the high jump kick killing it. Yeah, probably should have pressed that, what, 6 or 7 turns ago. And here comes the Charizard, and it takes some damage from the rocks. Let's see this speed tie to see who wins. And Medicham does win, and Reckless One would have had it all along had he just pressed the button originally. This is one of those scenarios where you got to know your Pokemon, people. You can't just, lose games because you're not willing to look at a speed chart. And you see how much damage that Zen Headbutt does. And Reckless One just whether hubris or not, he is just getting destroyed. But here it comes back. I talk game about Reckless, and the Mega Medicham is coming back. But Meganium here is set up because the lead seed with the Bighorn and a proper paralysis timing there is huge, and it's probably going to stop it. And there is the stop. Medicham not able to fulfill the sweep,
Oh my
but that should
goodness.
show you how powerful it was. And instead of swapping him in and out and in and out, he should have just left him in and pressed the button. Let your Pokemon do the damage for you. And what a
further on
game
that,
from Random Wizard.
if he had retained that fortress,
Woo!
he would have had the opportunity
Wow.
to clear the leech seeds as well as reset the fake out. There's a lot to learn in that match, and we'll see how these two compete going further on. We will probably see a rematch within the finals.